need to apologize to you. I may have been a little short-sighted in starting these videos on self-love. I'm going to explain why. I promise you, and I'm going to make things right with you. Just stay tuned. Hi, my name is Michelle Fondin. I'm the author of 14 published books, including my latest books, Love Me Unconditionally, a spiritual guide to self-love and inner peace, and its companion workbook. All right, we are gonna start very shortly. I'm gonna take a sip of tea. And before we begin, I'd like you to do a self-love check-in. It's something that I do in my latest books. It's something we're gonna do together throughout our time talking about self-love. So before I take a sip of tea and before I introduce my little mascots, I'm gonna ask you 3 questions, and this is your self-love check-in. So the first question I want to ask you is, how are you feeling right now, right this very minute? How are you feeling? I'm giving you permission to feel whatever it is that you want to feel. Now, you don't need my permission, but I know that it's not often that you are given permission to feel exactly the way you feel. And I'm telling you right now, there's nothing wrong with any feelings. All feelings are valid. So whether you're feeling upset, anxious, frustrated, angry, depressed, or whether you're feeling elated, excited, exuberant, or anything in between, just know that your feelings are valid and you have the right to feel what you feel right now. So let's tune into our feelings. Both you and I, we're going to tune into our feelings right now, how we are feeling. Now, I will tell you right now, I'm feeling a little bit anxious about what I'm about to talk about. I don't know why the anxiety is there. It's just there. The second question I want you to ask yourself is, what do I need? Like, what do I need right now? And then you can pause the video and give it to yourself, whether it's you have to use the restroom because you've been holding it, or you need a sip of water or a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or something to eat. So just pause the video, whatever it is you need right now. It could be extra sleep. And if that's the case, save this video, get a nap, and come right back to it after your nap. But what do you need? What does your body need? What does your mind need? What does your soul need right now? And the third question is, what do you desire? What do you desire? Now, that may not be something you can fulfill right this instant, but getting in touch with your feelings, needs, and desires is going to help you get more in touch with who you are and to love yourself unconditionally, because that really is our goal here. So we're going to start each video exactly like this because I want to connect with you. I want to connect with you through this medium, which it's not so easy to connect through. And that was kind of my epiphany this past week. So I'm here with my friends, my mascots. I have a Grogu. I've got 2 Gudetamas. And I've got my tea. I've got my tea in my Mandalorian tumbler. See, I've got Grogu and Mando on the back with my Tocino Dandelion Caramel Nut tea. And as I say every time, no, I am not endorsed by Tocino. I just like the tea. And what I really needed, I was very thirsty as I started this video. So I actually need something to drink. I was on vacation this past week. I was in Florida. I was by myself in Florida, and it was my celebration to myself, for myself, to celebrate finishing, publishing the last 2 books. This is a tradition I started with myself to love myself a little bit more after all of that work. And I wish I was with somebody. I don't have a significant other at the moment, but I had a good time by myself. I had a lot of reflection time, relaxation, recuperation after all the adrenaline. There's a lot of adrenaline that goes into finishing projects. I'm sure you know that when you're almost to the end of finishing a major project, a lot of you're running on adrenaline, a lot of it. So I kind of had that time to recuperate from that adrenaline rush that was kind of ongoing about 2 months prior to publication. So it was a constant. And I was thinking about self-love, and I was thinking about my latest books, and I was thinking about talking to you about self-love. And I had this epiphany that was pretty poignant. It was pretty stark. And I had a realization that made me a little sad. And that realization was, I wasn't going about building a rapport with you on this topic as well as I need to be doing. Let me explain that a little bit. Self-love is a very sensitive topic. There is nothing that hits closer to home. There is nothing that is more sensitive than self-love. Because when you start to take a look at yourself and how you conceive yourself on every level, whether it's body, mind, emotions, personality, education, intellect, soul, spirit, your relationships, your job, your career, whatever it is, as soon as you start to take a look at it, it gets deep and personal very quickly. And I realized that my bubbly, optimistic, cheerleader type self was probably not the best way to connect with you on this deep topic. So I can be serious, as you guys know. I can be serious, but I can also be playful and joyful and exuberant like a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader in high school. But I realized too that I want to connect with you on a level that is very deep, the depth of what you are needing to do to look at yourself in the self-love realm. That is a very, very, very different way than looking at external things. And for the most part, even though I've taught about personal things, for the most part, I've taught about external things, notably relationships. So if you look at my book, Help, I Think My Loved One's an Alcoholic, that's about the relationships. If we talk about twin flame romance and twin flame union, that is about relationships. Even chakra healing for vibrant energy and the 8 limbs of yoga, those are about philosophies that you could follow or not follow. So those are still external things. Yes, directing you towards yourself, but they're still external. So as I have been since, 2011 that I've been on YouTube? Since 2011, I've been talking about external things. Even Ayurveda, Ayurvedic philosophy, that is an external thing, even though you can apply it to yourself. This is the first time that I, as a teacher, have hit very close to home. So I understand now, I wasn't understanding this before, but I understand now how triggering that can be. How you might not even really want to watch videos on self-love because it's very triggering. It's too close. It's too close to home. And I realize that now. I realize that I'm asking you to do something that most people will never, ever, ever do in their whole lifetime. I'm asking you to look at yourself and dig deep. And in order for me to ask you to do that, I need to connect with you differently. Now, you and I are at a huge disadvantage in this right now, here in this video. We're at a huge disadvantage because we have this separation of the medium, which is YouTube at this point. Could be TikTok, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook. But we have this separation of this. And so vibration gets lost, energy gets lost, even sincerity gets lost, even though I'm very sincere. It still gets lost over the medium. And my short-sightedness is coming from a very different place. You see, some of you know this, but some of you don't, that I ran a yoga studio in person, a real brick and mortar yoga studio from 2008 to 2018. And so everyone I was encountering, I was with in person. We were in person. So whether I was teaching yoga, meditation, doing personal coaching, teaching Ayurveda, doing many of the things that I did within the walls of my yoga studio, I was doing it person to person. I was not doing it through a screen. I was not doing it through social media. I was not doing it with that degree of separation. And therefore, feeling the energy of the room, feeling the energy of the person right in front of me, and them feeling my energy was a lot more effective. So because we were feeling into each other's energies directly, the impact was much greater. And there was more of an opportunity to open up. There was more an opportunity to create rapport and trust. And that allowed for healing to occur faster, because if I asked for something in the client, in the student, if I asked for something, they were more likely to open up right away because they were there. They're right in front of me. And so this is very different. While the teachings may be the same, the ask may be the same, we are in a different space here. And I understand that now. And so respectfully, I'm asking you to accept my apology for being short-sighted in this and not thinking of that when I began talking about self-love, which again, requires you to open up in ways that you may have never wanted to open up. Because it's so much easier. And I think you'll agree with me, right? It's so much easier to focus on somebody else. So much easier. It's easier to look at your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, significant other, to look at your mother, your sister, your best friend, your boss. It's so much easier to look at the other and to analyze those relationships and wonder what is not going right, right? What's not going right? What is going right? How do I make things better? Or maybe how do I blame the other person, right? All of those things are a whole lot easier than looking at the relationship with yourself. So we're going to tune in a little bit more here. We are going to tune in. We're going to change the dial a little bit. We're going to tune into really what is going on inside right now. And I will share with you what is going on inside of me right now. And it will be more of an exchange with the limitations, right? I don't like that word limitations, but within the limitations of what we have to work with here. Okay, we don't have such an open forum, an open space when it is rather one-sided, if you will. There are a lot of filters here. There's me recording the video. There is me editing the video. There's me posting the video. There is you opening up your app or your computer or your laptop or your television and finding the video and then playing the video, hopefully. But that's a lot of hoops to jump through. That's a lot of filters so that by the time you get the transmission of the message, even though it might resonate with you, a lot has already been lost. So I'm going to try my best to connect with you on a deeper level here, and that we can really check in with one another so that you can be more open and comfortable with hearing messages of self-love and working on that relationship with yourself, and so that you don't feel threatened, right? Because I think that's a little bit of what is going on here, is that when I'm asking you in my very cheerful manner to take a look at yourself and your relationship with yourself and loving yourself unconditionally, that the blocks go up, right? The defenses go up, because that is our automated response. If someone points something out to us that we should probably be looking at, it's like, why would I want to look at that? I'm fine, I'm good. There's nothing wrong with me, right? But as we connect with each other on a deeper level, on a soul level, and really get into a trusting relationship with each other, then hopefully those walls can come down and we can have a better rapport, whether you're only seeing me through video or whether you have one-on-one sessions with me at some point, or whether you come and see me in person, because that's something that I'm going to be starting hopefully by the fall of 2026, maybe before. But I feel like this is a good segue into building that trust, building that relationship, so that when the time comes that we could meet one day in person, that you already understand my style, the energy. You already understand that I'm not intending to trigger you by asking these questions. I'm not intending to make you put your walls up because of these questions. I am entering into a space that is very loving. I'm entering into a space that is very non-judgmental. And I'm also entering into a space with you that I've been in, right? I would never ask you to take a look at something that I have not looked at myself. I wouldn't do that. And I certainly wouldn't teach something that I haven't experienced firsthand myself. So I hope this really helped you to understand where I'm coming from. And hopefully we can enjoy this part of our journey together, and we can enjoy a better relationship with each other, even though it might be virtual. But we can really hold each other accountable too, and in finding that space within that gives ourselves permission to have feelings, to have our needs, and to have our desires, because really that is the first step, the absolute first step in getting to know yourself better and getting to build that relationship with yourself and getting to build that self-trust. So hopefully I've accomplished my mission today. And again, my apologies for anything previously that may have triggered you. And I hope that you stay with me throughout this, because without you, hey, I'm just talking to myself over here. But I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. And if you feel compelled, hey, subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, share with some friends, enjoy, and take some time to yourself today, really. Give yourself, even if you have 5 minutes to give yourself at least that. Whether it's to reflect and journal, to meditate, to sit alone with a cup of coffee or tea and enjoy that relationship with yourself. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video.